It's Monday, the 24th of November, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. This is what we're going to be watching throughout the week. As we go throughout the week, two areas in particular to monitor very closely for some significant weather. Not that we don't expect it this time of year, keeping everything in perspective on this channel. But a big spin up here should be weakening eventually. Pretty strong near Iceland, though, as it approaches the UK, Ireland, and Norway. So we'll cover that. I'll zoom down into this and another one with some big rain again. Parts of the Mediterranean, especially southeastern Europe, as we get back toward the Balkans. Heavy rain of potential, a flood threat, big snows, and some gusty winds. We're going to be tracking that as well. So these two spots to watch throughout the week. Let me start wide, then we'll zoom down, then we'll cover the rain totals, even the snow depth in spots. So thank you for your patience on this video. So we've got that cold air that's plunged in for many of us. Here's this area, very active weather we've been watching right through here, but it only gets more active from Italy back through the Balkans. This here is by tomorrow, going day by day here, watching one area here with some heavier rain, of course, snow on the north side of it, chilly to cold weather elsewhere. But as we go throughout the week, as we work our way into Wednesday, things start to change. One system kind of departs, but a new one is going to try to develop in the Mediterranean. Meanwhile, we've got one system clipping by and a bigger spin here as it works its way closer to Iceland. These are the two areas we'll be watching throughout the week. Look at that spin taking shape right there. Strong winds over toward Iceland and then in through here, back through the Mediterranean, approaching Italy, Greece, up through Croatia, the possibility of some aggressive weather, even trying to move inland toward Romania. These are the two spots we'll be watching this week as we work our way into Friday. You can see how all of this evolves. This one kind of dives down. This one shoots in. So watching these two spots. Now, as we go forward throughout the week, if I put out some new videos, if you're subscribed, you'll get those notifications. But this is what we're going to be tracking together. So let me zoom down and go step by step for you. First here, this is for tonight, of course, watching some of the heavier rain, Bosnia, Montenegro, heavier rain, the flood potential. We're just going to add on to this throughout the week. That is the issue, as we have one area of aggressive weather sliding by. The pattern is locked in. That's a problem. So I do appreciate you getting the word out about this, because you see once again as we work our way into tomorrow, look at Croatia, for example, Bosnia, heavier rain, Hungary over towards Slovakia, some rain, some snow. This moves by, watching North Macedonia, Albania, Greece, Kosovo for some of the rain, Bulgaria. Just as it tries to settle, though, here's the issue. By the time we get into Thursday and Friday, we're going to be watching a spin. I don't see it becoming necessarily a named system, but the pattern locked in again. So you see Albania, for example, more heavy rain as we work our way into Friday. That shoots across, snow, of course, in the higher terrain. Greece later this week. Bulgaria, better chance of rain clipping west end of Turkey there. So the pattern continues, and that's the issue. It just kind of piles over toward parts of Italy, central, southern sections for some additional rain and flooding, and then back toward the Balkans. So I appreciate you getting the word out about that across southeastern Europe, in particular the Balkans, for that additional rain, an aggressive pattern that's going to be with us all week long. Now let's swing up to the north. You see some of the spotty showers here, of course, Switzerland, Austria, higher terrain, no doubt, getting some of the snow. Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, clip by some of the rain. Germany, Poland, some rain, snow at times with that colder weather. But our attention as we get toward later in the week is this. As this approaches, here's Iceland, as this spin approaches, we get some rain sweeping through anywhere from Scotland back through Wales, watching that on Wednesday. And then you see the spin trying to lift up toward Iceland, which I showed you before, with some windy weather. This is by Thursday, sweeping in some rounds of rain at times. Now, as this spin approaches the UK and Ireland, it will overall be trying to weaken, but at times there could be heavier rain passing by Thursday night, at times on Friday as this moves in, and then eventually as this passes by, it will reinforce some of the cold air for some of us. So as we go throughout the weekend time, and you could put a little pause on this to get a gauge of the temperature in and around where you live as you watch this video, but not some huge changes. By the middle and end of the week, temperatures will try to moderate just a little bit, especially across our southern zones. But by the time we get into Thursday and Friday, watching this next spin moving in. But overall, where we have the chill, while the numbers may bump up slightly, the colder weather is going to remain. And then we'll be watching that next spin moving in by the end of the week, which will reinforce some of the cold air. So for the next few days, as far as we work our way through really into Thursday, as far as the rain goes, if you get some rain, UK and Ireland, some spots for about 3 to 4 day total, some spots, not all of us, could reach about 25 millimeters of rain. A little bit heavier as we work our way in through here, keeping an eye on Andorra, southern and eastern sections of France, northern Spain, not as much Portugal, but it's this sector in here. Of course, some of this, as we well know, is the snow. This wouldn't just be rain totals, this would be snow. But you see this sector, central, southern Italy, back towards Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Albania, Greece, significant rain totals. And we're going to just add on to this, even potentially into the upcoming weekend. A few spots will be over 20 centimeters of rain. And that's why I appreciate you getting the word out about this, because that pattern continues. As one batch of rain moves in and moves out, another one is right on the heels. Of course, some of this as well will be mixed in with some snow as far as rain totals go, upwards of about 25 millimeters of rain in spots. That snow depth increasing, and I'll expand this out in the next videos, and not only increasing here, the snow depth, but the snow cover as well, sinking all the way down to the south. And of course, as we know this time of year, across the higher terrain too. So watching the Mediterranean, one system after another moving by, with that a bigger storm system overall, even if it's not named, later this week. So the heavy rain, the major flood threat, that is a big concern. Italy back through the Balkans, we're on alert for that. On and off days of rain. We'll get some breaks in it, but then we just kind of see that repeat pattern. And watching the spin building back toward Iceland, over toward Ireland and the UK as we work our way through the week. And in the short term, by the way, I should mention the Canary Islands, some of those gusty winds as well. So thank you for being part of this weather community. Have a good start to the working week.